Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad HAFIZULDesign. My ID is 181091266. Today I will present about our mini project. The name of our mini project is Design and Implementation of Hybrid Renewable Energy System. So the system we choose is biomass plus solar energy. Next is introduction for our project. Introduction for our project is the new energy policy is to catch up with energy demand, increasing prices of fossil fuels, striving for carbon neutral, means of resources for energy generation, reduce global warming. So next slide is objective. Our objective is proposing an implementation of a design of hybrid renewable energy system and its example of application like biomass with support of solar energy. So for the renewable energy resources, we must choose the origin, how to open the resources, and how to convert the energy for this biomass and the solar energy. So the next slide is biomass. As can we see in the figure, they have photosynthesis of the biomass and type of a biomass like garbage, wood, crops, landfills, glass, alcohol fuel, derived from living or recently living organism. So biomass also is stored from sunlight energy that can be converted to electricity, fuel, or heat. So the next slide is how to obtain the resources. Biomass is available almost everywhere in the world and usually easily found, like woods, energy crops, agricultural residue. So next slide is municipal solid waste also is from biomass. Waste from the production and processing of food products, waste from the manufacturing, like acacia tree, napier grass. So next slide is the processes of produce usable energy for commercial process of the biomass. So they have direct means and indirect means. Direct means heat and electricity. So indirect mean biogas and biofuel. So for the next slide is thermal conversion involves heating the biomass feedstock to burn, dehydrate or stabilize it. So they have direct firing, co-firing, pyrolysis, gasification, anaerobic decomposition. So the next slide is the direct firing and co-firing. Yeah, as you can see in the figure, the fuel burn directly or mixed with fossil fuels to produce electricity after purification process. So the next is pyrolysis. So pyrolysis is heating the biomass at high temperature to produce pyrolysis oil, syngas, and biochar. So that this is gasification. They heat at every high temperature with controlled volume of oxygen to produce syngas and slag. And next slide is anaerobic decomposition. As you can see in the figure, a process where the bacteria break down material in the absence of oxygen to produce methane. So biofuel is a production of biofuel and biodiesel from biomass through gasification, pure ethanol or mix of ethanol with animal fat, recycled cooking fat or vegetable oil. So for the solar energy, it is produced from the nuclear interaction at the core of the sun, where the energy comes from the conversion of hydrogen into helium. The, at the right picture is the sunlight as main commodity for solar energy. So the next slide is how to obtain the resources. Sunlight is far the largest carbon-free energy source on the planet. Sunlight is readily available, secure from geopolitical tension, and poses no threat to our environment and our global climate system from pollution emission. The Earth itself is essentially a huge solar energy collector receiving a large quantity of solar energy that manifests in various forms. So process it to produce visible energy like conversion process of sunlight is from photovoltaic, concentrating solar thermal power, solar heating and cooling. For the next slide is photovoltaic. It is generate electricity directly from sunlight via an electronic process like landed solar farm or floating solar farm. So for photovoltaic cell, when the semiconductor material absorb enough sunlight, solar energy, electrons are dislodged from the material's atom. The electrons naturally migrate to the surface of the cell. So this is landed solar farm. So this is the floating solar farm. So this is also the floating solar farm. And then this is a concentrate concentrating solar thermal power, or CSP. Concentrate the sun energy to drive traditional steam turbines or engines that create electricity, like parabolic through, linear Fresnel reflector, power tower, dish engine. So this is the how the concentrated solar power technology, like parabolic throw, linear Fresnel reflector, parabolic dish, central receiver. So for the next slide is parabolic throw. Parabolic throw is a used curve to focus the sun energy onto a receiver tube that runs down the center of a through. So like for linear Fresnel reflector, use the principle of curve mirror through system but with long parallel rows of lower cost flat mirror. So for the next slide is power tower. Use a central receiver system which allow for higher operating temperature and thus greater efficiencies. Computer controlled mirrors called heliostat that track the sun along to access and focus solar energy on a receiver at the top of a high tower. So for the dish engine, mirrors are distributed over a parabolic dish surface to concentrate sunlight on a receiver fixed at the focal point. In contrast to other CSP technologies that employ steam to create electricity via a turbine, a dish engine system uses a working fluid such as hydrogen that is heated up to 1200 Fahrenheit in the receiver to drive an engine. So for solar heating and cooling, essentially collect the thermal energy from the sun. Essentially is have two type, water heating, space heating. So for solar water heating technology, it gathers the heat from solar radiation and transfer the heat to potable water. So for the solar air technology, energy from the sun is captured and used to heat air. So this is an advantage for this mini project. Is eco-friendly and renewable, profitable while saving money. It is a reliable source of energy, empowering of people in the countryside. So there are a few disadvantage. It's like takes a lot of space to install, require a huge upfront capital outlay. It still generate pollution. The electricity generation capacity is still not large enough. Okay, so the next slide is the process of hybrid renewable energy system. As you can see in this picture, the hybrid renewable energy system consists of a photovoltaic battery biomass unit which produce electricity and air gap membrane distillation unit which utilize waste heat from the biomass generated to purify water. The configuration was optimized for size using Homer, and the amount of it that can harness from the engine exhaust is analyzed. So this is the schematic of the project of this new project. There is biomass and the PV system, solar PV. So solar PV is used as renewable energy source, and biomass resources are also included with a biogas generator. A generic diesel power generator is also installed for backup purpose as well, to compare the the renewable energy cost with the conventional energy. System components like battery converter, PV plates, generator complete the total hybrid renewable energy system. Solar photovoltaic, biogas generator, diesel generator, battery, and converter are needed to convert solar PV into AC power. Most of the home appliances operate in AC. So this is the comparison amount of solar PV and biomass resources within other renewable energy used in Malaysia. So as you can see, the hydropower is the most most used in Malaysia, and the lastly is the wind. So solar biomass is in average. So for next slide is comparing solar energy in Malaysia into to the world. So Malaysia is for solar is not high like other country like Japan, US, China. So you must use the solar. So these are the comparison between the usage of biomass energy in Malaysia against the world. So the highest using biomass is China, and the lastly is Malaysia. So for the next slide is the application of design for the hybrid renewable energy system in Malaysia. The solar PV and biomass system will be implemented in for a smart eco village in Iskandar, Malaysia. The frequency of occurrence and the solar intensity for the weather pattern are shown in the table below. The Kulai Palm Oil Mill is assumed to be the supplier of these resources. As you can see in the table, it is the solar intensity data and the different weather pattern. So these are the info. So for next is energy impact to economic, social, and environment. So for economy is biomass can create an economic growth and job, reduce fossil fuel dependence, improve the economy. For solar panel, open the job opportunities, contribute to the national economy, reduce electricity bills for house and buildings. So for the social, biomass reduce poverty rates by increasing income, improving economic condition through the availability of energy. For the social, for solar panel is the air cleaner and safer for communities, reduce the cost associated. More job opportunity can be created from project development, construction, and installation. So for the environment, biomass can reduce the fossil energy use and greenhouse gas emission, can reduce also the pesticide and fertilizer impact on the water quality. For environment, for the solar panel, is can install solar panel without the ecosystem to make space. It doesn't pollution the water and air. So that's all for me. Thank you.